Hey there, it's Simone. Hope you guys are doing great. It's we're still on the roller coaster of 2020. And chances are either you're doing extremely well, your business is booming because you were right in the exact right spot when all this hit and you had the right thing and you were executing right and things are just moving like a rocket ship, or you're barely hanging on and my client are a pretty even mix of both. There's a lot of opportunities still out there. There's a lot of new stuff that people are needing and doing, and it's just adding a whole other dimension to our society, which is kind of awesome at the same time where it's also not. So we all know where we are, and it doesn't really matter if you are on the one side or on the other, but chances are, whether your business is booming or you're barely hanging on, you need to make every resource count. And you also know that you can't do all this stuff on your own. So if you're the business leader, if you're the CEO, the business owner, the business leader in your company, you know that you can only get this done if you can leverage. So how do you leverage any of this stuff? You got to make sure that you have a really, really optimized, tight, and super high performing team. And that's the only way it gets done. So you can't be everywhere. You can't be working 24/7. And actually, a lot of my clients are coming to me. They are working 24/7. They're losing their mind and they're trying everything and they're still losing a ton of money, resources, time, energy, and kind of losing their mind too, because they're trying to get it done and they don't know how. So, and as the CEO of the company, whether you own that role yet or not, your job is not to be everywhere. Your job is not to get everything done. Your job is growing the bottom line, not the top line, the bottom line of the business. So how do you get that done? The only way you can get that done is, like I said, through your leverage team. And for a lot of you guys, this is kind of really bad news, because this means you have to hire, you have to make sure that the people are on point, that you onboard them right, that you get them to be performing right, and then you have to lead them right. So there's a lot of pieces to be covered. So leverage is a really important part. And let me just make sure that you're in the right place, because this is not for you if you think delegating will get this done. This is probably exactly why you are in the place where you're at if you're struggling, because delegation is a very, very thing of the past. So that doesn't work anymore with the teams of today. So this is for you if you know you have to support your people. You have to give them the right information at the right level so they can really support you and up-level you as the business owner. And, let's be real. When you have really, really good people on board, you have to be a really good leader for them. So that's the other part. You have to have the right systems in place, the right leadership in place to make sure that this goes well. Otherwise, you could be wasting a ton of time and money and resources. So my clients use a system that's actually quite simple. And it really, the foundation is 3 pillars that I want to talk about. And the 3 pillars are always people, systems, and leadership. Now, let me break that down a little bit, because people, there's a lot of stuff that goes with people. So like we said before, first you have to hire right. And that's everybody's biggest nightmare, because to hire right, you have to know exactly who are you looking for and what are they supposed to be doing and what are you hoping to get from them that you're not getting right now and that will take your business to that next level that you're looking for. So those are 3 really big things that you have to get right to hire that rock star player. So hiring right, and then once you hire the right person, it's like Jim Collins says, you get the right person on your bus, then you have to make sure that you establish the right standards for them to be really awesome A players. So they have to understand what that container is that you're creating for them, so they can actually be really good in the environment that you're giving them. So getting the right people on the bus, and then making sure you establish those right standards for them. And then once you have that piece covered, of course, we have to talk about systems. Because to have A players, those really highly performing rock stars, it's not just enough that you tell them what to do. That won't go well. Let me tell you that right now. In today's climate, with today's talent, telling people what to do never goes well. So you have to give them a lot more information. You have to tell them the why behind the what, and then you have to tell them the what well enough that they really understand how they fit into your picture. So when we're talking about a strategic plan, that's your what and your why. And that has to be big enough and detailed enough so people really get passionate and excited about how they can contribute to your vision. Because that's what you want them to do. You have to have that super, super clear vision so that you know exactly where you're going, and people have to understand how they contribute to that. And if they don't, you lost them right then and there. So that's that part of the strategic plan. And then the next thing, of course, is you have to have the right operational plan that gets them executing on that vision, on that strategic plan. And that is where the rubber hits the road and where most everybody gets it wrong, because this is really where you have to create a very collaborative and very ownership-driven environment. And that's not easy. And it relies on you giving them, again, a lot of clarity, but it also relies on you to be able to let go of the reins and let them come up with the how. You give them the what, or you come up together with the what, and then they give you the how for how they're going to get there. And that establishes a dynamic. That dynamic is gold in your company, because now suddenly you have people who are engaged because they're interested in seeing how their how comes to play. They're very different to what most people are doing these days. So you got that collaborational operational plan, collaborating operational plan that is really the key to you getting this right. So that's your system. And then, like I said earlier, the next thing that really has to be in place is your leadership, because now your people know the why and the what. You already talked to them about the how. You've got that figured out in a dynamic way. And now it's really time to help them up level and grow them, because that is really your job as the CEO, growing the business and growing your people. And that's where it gets really tricky, because that means you have to be really good at communicating and keeping track of all the pieces, because you are the person who keeps that super high level 30,000 foot view at all times. And you know how all these puzzle pieces fit together, and you have to remind people how that whole game works. And that is really your job in the end, is you're the chief reminding officer, the chief reinforcement officer, and the chief growth officer. And that's really how you get to be who you need to be for your company to reach that next level in business. So when you think again about hiring and growing your business and scaling, that's really where you want to think, how you want to think. You want to think about your people, right? People on the bus, give them the why and the what, and then you want to think about your systems. That's the what and the how, and then you want to make sure that you are the leader who can take them to that next level. So hope that's helpful today. If you want the full training on this, there's an awesome training at bulletproofstartups.com. Go to bulletproofstartups.com and check that out, and I will talk to you very soon.